You ever want to read a book but not commit to an entire 700-page epic? Honestly, same. Some weekends I just want a quick but magical read, something immersive, beautifully written and finished in 1 or 2 sittings. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alina, and in today's video I want to share with you my favorite books that you can finish over the weekend. These books are very short, just under 300 pages, and honestly many of them are just 150-160 pages, so it's really easy to read any of those in over a weekend. We have some cozy reads, and we also have some epic reads, and my favorite, we have some beautifully written poetic books that deliver this emotional punch to them. My favorite kind of books. So grab your favorite drink, make yourself cozy, and let's build your weekend to bear. Okay, let's start with the best. Let's start with books that are a little strange, deeply emotional, and totally unforgettable. If you love poetic books with amazing writing style and a story that stays in your head for a while after reading the book, try this. Okay, and we're starting with creme de la creme. I can't get enough of this book. This is How You Lose the Time War. Okay, this synopsis is so good, I just have to read it for you. In the ashes of a dying world, Red finds a letter marked "Burn before reading." So begins the unlikely correspondence between two rival agents in a war that stretches through the vast reaches of time and space. Red belongs to the Agency, a post-singularity technotopia. Blue belongs to Garden, a single vast consciousness embedded in all organic matter. Their pasts are bloody and their futures mutually exclusive. They have nothing in common, save they are the best and they are alone. Now, what began as a battlefield boast grows into a dangerous game, one that both Red and Blue are determined to win, because winning is what you do in war, isn't it? After reading this synopsis, I knew I had to pick up this book because I knew I would love it, but I haven't expected to love it as much as I did. And looking through all the marks that I left in this book, you can see how much I enjoyed it. I'm not usually the person who puts lots of marks on my books, but when I do, it means that there was something very beautifully written. So for me, this kind of annotation stickers are mostly for something very poetic and beautifully written. And so looking at this, you can be sure that there are plenty of beautifully written moments and letters through this book, so I highly recommend. It's just 195 pages, so it's super short. You can read it in a weekend easily. Just go and do it. Okay, next one is really short, guys. It's just 30 pages, so you can probably read it in a couple of hours, but the story in those 30 pages just made me think about it for the next week. It was so good. And it always fascinates me how you can contain the whole epic story in 30 pages and deliver this gut-punching, emotional feeling to it. I don't know. I think those authors are real magicians. I don't know how you can do it. I really don't. But the story was amazing and I highly recommend it to everyone. The Sixth Death of the Saint by Alix E. Harrow. The Saint of War spares the life of a servant girl so she can fulfill her destiny as the kingdom's greatest warrior in the short story of love and loyalty. Always mindful of the debt she owes, the girl finds her wars as a weapon in the hand of the prince. Her victories make him a king, then an emperor. The bards sing her name and her enemies fear it. But the war never ends and the cost keeps rising. How many times will she repeat her own story? Oof. Amazing concept and amazing delivery. Guys, you have to read it. Just 30 pages. Come on. The next one in this section is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. It's a surreal, dreamlike novel about a man living in a mysterious labyrinth of endless halls and rising tides. It's eerie, philosophical, and unlike anything you'll ever read this year. This book is short, but I guess still on the longer side. It's, I believe, 245 pages, so I guess if you're a fast reader, you still can do it over the weekend or over a couple days. for sure. It still falls under the category of under 300 pages, so that's good. I love going into the book knowing absolutely nothing about it. Yes, granted, I read the synopsis, but it was very vague and very abstract, so I didn't get anything that was there. I just knew that it's about a man who is kind of like trapped in a labyrinth, but I knew nothing about it. And that's precisely how you want to go into this book, knowing absolutely nothing. So just trust me that you're in for a wonderful, wonderful read. It will be a little weird at times. It will be sometimes a little confusing. It will raise many questions throughout the story. You will question what is real, what is not, what is true, what is not, what is actually happening, because there are many abstract things about this story. But I promise, if you stick to it long enough, it's so worth it. I don't even know how to describe it, because it's really, like I said, it's unlike anything you've ever read. This is actually my first book by Susanna Clarke, and now knowing her beautiful writing style, I want to read her famous Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell book. She got me hooked to her writing style, and I'm all for it. So let's switch to another section. And this section is fast-paced and adventure-packed reads. If you still want something gripping, something with adventure, something with more fast-paced story, I think these books will be perfect for you. First up, we have Sci-Fi, and it's called All Systems Red. It's the first part in Martha Wells' series about Murderbot Diaries, and it's amazing. A snarky AI robot just wants to binge watch soap operas but accidentally saves a group of humans. It's really fast, funny, and packed with action, plus is under 180 pages, so you'll finish it really fast. And if you get hooked from reading this first installment in this series, make sure you read all the following novellas, because they're also amazing and funny and fast, and you can easily finish them over the weekend. I actually myself was binging this series recently. I was listening to them on audiobooks, and it was an amazing experience. In this video where I have my January and February wrap-up, I tell more about it, so if you want, you can check it out. But yeah, it's an amazing read. It's full of adventure, but it's also funny and witty, and it does give you this like comforting feeling because you relate to the main character, even though it's a robot. But you can relate in many situations. If you've ever felt socially awkward and not sure how to behave around humans, you can definitely relate to this main character, and that's what makes it so fun and amazing to read, because of how much relatable this character is. So make sure to give it a try. Another fun read in this adventure section is probably what is classic, and I love it, and I couldn't just not include it in this compilation. You probably know it, you probably even read it before, and you most definitely saw the movie, and it's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's one of those amazing, fun and comforting reads for me because of how hilarious and ridiculous it is, and it's so short. And if you haven't read this book before, make sure you do, because you can read it so fast and you will have such an amazing time, such a fun time, and it will definitely make your weekend great. Okay, this next book in our adventure section is so good, but is so different from the ones I already recommended. So the ones I already recommended, they're very adventure-y, there are some high stakes, but they're also like sometimes can be funny and hilarious. This one is definitely more serious, more emotional, but still in under 250 pages you have this amazing fast-paced story that just grips you by the throat and leaves you... I'm not gonna spoil it to you. I'm not gonna spoil how it's gonna leave you, but you will definitely think about this book for a couple days after you read it. But it's so good, so good. If you read it, you will probably hate me, but I guess I'm ready for it because it's so good. But just, yeah, just so you kind of prepared. I'm not saying anything, but it's very grippy, very grippy. Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. A girl trains a massive mythical bird to hunt monsters in a brutal desert world. It's got gritty action, sky-high stakes, and emotional depths, all in under 160 pages. I want to mention just how cinematically it's written. So there is like epic fantasy and you kind of like slowly, and it develops slowly, right? So because you have all these page, I guess, lengths to spend on world building, on building characters, this one is very fast paced, but it's also very cinematic. So I can definitely see how this book can easily be made into a movie. The story is on the shorter side, but the events that unfold in this book, they unfold so fast, but so organically fast. And that's why I guess it reminded me of this like cinematic, epic movie with those huge birds and monster hunters. It was such an amazing and immersive read. I think I read it in like 1 or 2 days, and it just left me breathless. This is what surprised me. It's 160 pages, but we still have this amazing world building, and we also get this amazing character building from page 1. Like, we understand the motives of our main character, why she behaves the way she does, why she has her motivations the way she does, and it's so short. How do you do it? I don't know. Short stories like this fascinate me, because when you have 600 pages to build all this immersive world, I'm not saying that it's easy, but I guess you have this freedom to unravel it slowly and make it satisfying for people. And that's why we love epic fantasy so much, because we get so immersed. That's why when I read 160 pages story that gets me immersed just the same as 600 page epic fantasy, I'm really fascinated. I don't know how to write like that. Maybe one day I will know, but it just fascinates me so much on its own. Just if we take it separately from the actual story, but just like how you write it, amazing. Okay, but enough ranting. Okay, next section is gonna be cozy and comforting reads, our favorite. Maybe you're in the mood for something more heartwarming and low stakes because you had such a stressful week, and over the weekend you just want something relaxing, you just want something warm and fuzzy and cozy, and I got you, you just want a warm hug. I'll give it to you. Okay, my first recommendation in this section is definitely the read that I enjoyed so much, and it felt like a fuzzy warm hug for me. You know how usually in the stories, when we picture futuristic world, it's usually something dystopian, right? Because I guess we understand how bad humans can be and how everything can unravel in a worst case scenario. So we have so many sci-fi stories that follow that scenario where, yeah, when it's a futuristic world, and so there's definitely something went wrong. Maybe there's like some ecological catastrophe or like invasion of robots or something, right? So imagine a futuristic world, maybe with robots, but that actually went good. It's hard to imagine, right? But these books will help you picture this kind of like utopian world co-living with robots and AIs. So I feel like it's gonna be very refreshing to read alternative turn of events. A Psalm for the Wild Build and A Prayer for the Crown Shy by Becky Chambers. A monk and a tea-loving robot go on a quiet journey of self-discovery. These books are gentle, thoughtful, and feel like existential therapy in a book form. I think this is actually a perfect description. It's like an existential crisis, but in a very comforting form. I promise you will enjoy it. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's a journey of, I guess, self-identity. So I guess in this book, author asks us, when all our needs are kind of like organically taken care of, when we live in a society where we coexist, where we co-share resources, right? So we have enough of everything basically to to satisfy our basic needs, right? Food, accommodation, security, something social, right? So when all of this is kind of like taken care of, when we don't face large-scale world problems, right? Really hard to picture right now. What kind of problems will we have then? What kind of questions will our subconscious raise then, when we have this freedom of not thinking about, I guess, first priority things that we need to take care of? So what are we going to seek? What are we going to need in this world when everything is kind of like good and stable? And these two books actually, I guess, take us on this journey of discovering through our main characters what kind of questions will we ask ourselves then. So I guess it's very philosophical, very existential, but it has this absolutely comforting and warming feel to it. You read it and you just feel like you're in this warm blanket, cozying up. So I guess if you want something very comforting for the weekend, it's perfect. I read those books, two books, in a really difficult time for me, and they helped me so much to get out of this like bad spiraling. And if you too need a little pick-me-up, I think these books will be perfect for you. Another short book in this cozy, whimsical section is Kamogawa Food Detectives. A cozy slice of life Japanese novel about a tiny Kyoto restaurant that helps people rediscover lost flavors and forgotten memories. It's short, sweet, and full of warmth. So yeah, I decided to include this book, even though I don't think it falls under category of fantasy or sci-fi, but something about it still felt to me very magical, so I definitely want to recommend it for you. It's very comforting, it's very nice. It's a translation from Japanese, if I'm not mistaken, so you gotta be ready for that, right? So I could read past it, and it was actually a very decent translation. I didn't stumble through writing style how sometimes I would get with Japanese translations, right? Because they sometimes translate word for word and it doesn't really make sense. If you understand me. But this one was actually on a much smoother side, so I enjoyed it very much. And so I really recommend it to you. It's very heartwarming. It gives you this like nostalgic feeling. So if you've ever felt, I guess, connected to some events or people through food that you shared with them, I think it will resonate with you a lot. And we follow like multiple short stories about like people and customers that come to the shop, and they have this like request to find a recipe, and all they have for this recipe is like the memory of where and in what circumstances they had this meal. And so the chef of this little restaurant goes and tries to find and recreate this recipe. It's very nice. It's very cozy and heartwarming, and it gives you this like nostalgic feeling of the memories that you used to have. So yeah, I really recommend it. Okay, I have one last section for you today, and it's fairy tales, folklore, and retellings with some interesting spin on it. If you love fairy tales, but I guess with some fresh, warm, and maybe a little dark twist on it, I think these ones will keep you enchanted. Okay, first one we have a Spindle Splintered. It's a sharp feminist retelling of Sleeping Beauty with multiverse magic and snarky humor. It's fun, fast, and perfect for one sitting read. Okay, I want to be fully transparent with you. It was not a read that I 100% enjoyed, because at times I felt like the author was too blunt with the message that she wanted to send, and I personally prefer more when those topics are written with more nuance to them, because here they were very blunt, very upfront, and sometimes it took away from the story. But I still want to include this short novella in my compilation because maybe you have a different personality than me, and I don't want to rob you from this reading experience so that you can check it out for yourself. Maybe you will enjoy it more than me. Why I wanted to read this book? Because many people whose opinions I value recommended it to me, and I really loved the concept of this retelling. I haven't read retellings in a long while. I used to love them. I used to watch Once Upon a Time. I had this stage in my life when I really enjoyed retellings. Right now I'm, I guess, a little tired of it, but I still wanted to give it a chance because while reading the synopsis, I found that it's a really interesting take on the story that I already know, and I haven't read something like that in a while. So I went to it with this thought and I was very excited. And I feel like the story would have been so much more enjoyable for me if, again, the author was more, I guess, nuanced about the message that she wanted to send. Sometimes I felt like it was too harsh. Sometimes I felt like it was like too in your face, because I feel like maybe she wanted to focus on the issue more than the actual, I guess, story and retelling. I don't know, but I guess knowing my personality, I would prefer the story being our main grabbing attention part and the message and the issue, I guess, going parallel to that and like very tastefully weaved into the story, right? So this is what I enjoy. But again, don't take my word for it, check it for yourself, because I know many people enjoyed it immensely, right? So, Spindle, Splintered. It's Zinnia Gray's 21st birthday, which is extra special because it's the last birthday she'll ever have. When she was young, an industrial accident left Zinnia with a rare condition. Not much is known about her illness, just that no one has lived past 21. Her best friend Charm is intent on making Zinnia's last birthday special with a full Sleeping Beauty experience, complete with a tower and a spinning wheel. But when Zinnia picks her finger, something strange and unexpected happens. She finds herself falling through worlds, with another Sleeping Beauty just as desperate to escape her fate. So the twist with Sleeping Beauty, I guess multiverse, is what got me hooked, because I felt like it would be something interesting to experience. But I guess it didn't deliver to me, but it can deliver to you. So I feel like you still should give it a chance, but yeah, you know my opinion already. And another in this section is Venom on Crows. I also talk more in depth about this book in my January and February wrap-up. So if you would like to know my full review and maybe a little rant about this book, you should also check it out. I don't know, I guess this section is a little weird for me, but I still wanted to include it as books that you can read in a weekend, because I also can't say that I fully enjoyed this book, but it was for the different reason. This book is good. This book is decent. It was a very interesting concept. So we have Slavic folklore, but in urban environment. So it's very interesting, right? I do have a weak spot for Slavic folklore because I was raised on it. So I decided to check out this book. I guess the thing that didn't make this book fully enjoyable for me is that I wanted more. Yeah, it is short, right? So you can read it over the weekend, but I feel like for the idea that this author had and for the world that she created, I wanted more of it. I felt like it didn't have enough world building and it didn't have enough character development for me, again, for me personally, but it could be enough for you. I also, like I mentioned before, many people whose opinion I value recommended this book and they enjoyed it very much. So I still want to recommend it for you so that you can have your own opinion about it, because the story is cool. It's also adventure, it's fast-paced, interesting mythology, interesting, I guess, twist on Slavic folklore, which I enjoyed. I just want a little more of it, right? So for this book, I would actually prefer to have it, I don't know, 400 pages epic fantasy, right? Instead of like 100, like 160, right? This is something you can still enjoy. So I wanted to include it as well. Venom on Crows by Veronica Roth. a dark fairy tale novella inspired by Slavic folklore, filled with fate, monsters, and a reluctant alliance. It's sharp, eerie, and perfect if you love morally grey characters. So, whether you're in the mood for some fast action, or maybe something warm and cozy, or maybe it's something poetic and mind-bending, I think there is a book in this list that can satisfy your weekend craving. Let me know in the comments which one of those you will be adding to your weekend TBR, or maybe there is another fantasy and sci-fi short story or novella that I haven't mentioned but you really like and you would love to recommend, so leave it below in the comments. I always love to find new recommendations for it. And if you want more bookish content, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so that you don't miss another video. So I will see you next time, and as always, happy reading!